Yeah, I think we're live. All right. Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very, very well. We're twinning, so
Yeah.
we're like synchronized. um, yeah. So it looks like we're live. So welcome to my Facebook page, I guess. And as you know, I have a new account, and it's the first time I'm doing a live stream on it. I usually do it on the business page or on the groups or so on. I've been a little busy with the men's group, but yeah, I'm really happy to be doing this with you. So just a little bit of background on why we're doing this and what it is that we do. We were just talking before about how we met at a conscious entrepreneur employer lunch with Chip Lopez, right? And we
Yeah.
connected over some vegan lunch and talking about how we could make the workplace a healthier environment for staff. So I really love that we met like that, and so when the Gastro Center opened here in Cebu, yeah, you were the one of the first ones there, and so it was so lovely to have your presence always there, and a lot of the people who were like kind of the core group, and then of course you opened Solcier a year ago, and I also wanted to say that um, even if you did Reiki with me, I have you to thank for a lot of my work with plant medicine with entheogens. so so I wanted to acknowledge that tonight. Actually, thank you so much for bringing that back into my life. Yeah, and yeah, so from dread to delight, why are we talking about this today? First of all, I've been having quite a few people in the community, women who have been just they're just fed up with having very very painful periods and how it comes in the way of their work and their relationships. And so I've been doing quite some work with that, and then I noticed that you started posting, I don't know if it was like a month ago, 2 months ago, you started posting similar topics with around womb healing and periods. And so that's when I reached out to you, and then I found out that you've been doing this coursework. And so can you maybe tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Hi, guys. Thanks for having me, Wendy.
Of course.
Um, Always nice to chat. Um, so I started this course over a month ago. 2 months ago, I started this course. And actually, what led me to that was that I was doing another course before that, which really helped me connect with my shadows and I guess trauma that I've held in the past. These traumas came up during that course, and that's when I kind of started reconnecting with my womb. Well, actually, with my yoni first, and then I heard about this course called the Alchemical Womb, and I saw that it was all about healing and connecting with your womb space, your divine feminine, your moon cycles, and finding peace with your cycle and learning more about your cycle and yourself, of course. So I just went straight into that, and I knew that I needed to learn more. And what's crazy is, like, we're not taught this at school, like, and it's something that happens every month since we were teenagers. We bleed every month, but a lot of us don't even know much about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it made me really upset, actually, like when I started, because I was like, how did I not know about this? Why am I not connecting with this sacred part of my body? We're so ashamed about bleeding. We hide our tampons and our pads and all these things, and it made me angry at first. I was like, why is the world like this? And so I had a lot of healing to do. I'm still in the process of unlearning and learning more, but it's been a really beautiful process. And And yeah, I'm excited to talk more about it because I
Yeah.
think it's so important for women to learn more about their cycles and how powerful and sacred and amazing our cycles actually are. I mean, it happens for a reason, and we're just not connecting to it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. Like I was reflecting on when I first had my period, and I mean, it wasn't, there was nothing wrong. Like my mom was really, really cool, except that she didn't have the words because obviously, you know, our parents learn from their parents, right? And so, I mean, Filipino society, we're super conservative. And even if my mom was very open-minded, we didn't have a talk. We didn't talk about sex. We didn't talk, you know what I remember, and I love my mom, right? I'm not, there's no judgment at all. I love her to bits. And when I got my period, I was in Paris, and I think it must have been like, I was younger. I was like 11, I think. She gave me a box of tampons, and then
Oh,
she was like, "Here, just read the instructions." Like, yeah,
wow.
yeah, I know. Like, so I read the instructions. I was like, "Oh my god, I don't even know what this looks like. What
Yeah,
is this?"
that's so funny.
Yeah, she was very like, you know, modest about it. So I mean, I didn't feel like there was any shame or you know, wasn't dirty or anything, but she was just like, I'd rather not talk about it with you. Um, and and I remember something beautiful actually. My stepfather, he bought me roses. He got home from work and he had roses for me, which I thought was like, it's actually really, I don't think a lot of, you know, not everyone does that. Not a lot of fathers or stepfathers would do that. Like now that I think about it, it's really sweet. Um, and but that was it. So there was no you know, like celebrate, you know, there was no talk, there was just no discussion. And so I had to figure everything out on my own, right? Now, do you remember like your first period that
Yeah.
happened?
So mine was strange, actually. It was weird. I think I was 11 or 12 too.
Yeah.
But I just remember getting ready to go bicycle on the weekend. And for some reason, I was like, I'm getting my period today. And I put a pad on. I'm not joking.
Seriously?
And yeah, I don't know how that
Okay, so
happened. And then I went cycling. I went with my friends. And then I came home and I had my period. And I just remember going to my mom's bathroom and seeing my mom. I need pads, mommy. I got my period. And she was just like, yay, like cuddled me. And like, it was like, just like, well, welcome to womanhood kind of thing. But that was really strange. And I remember just telling everyone, I was like, I just felt it. It was
that's
weird. I didn't
crazy.
feel pain. I didn't, it's just like a knowing, you know? And, but yeah, that's it. And my periods have been pretty regular and I've been really lucky with my
Yeah.
periods. There have been a couple moments when I've been really stressed and working that I skipped my period, which was like, whoa, what's happening? Because I was so regular, and then when that happened, I thought like something was really wrong. So that's the only really, those are the only times that my periods have been affected. But I've been pretty good with my period and like very regular, which I'm so grateful for because I have a lot of friends that struggle with really
Yeah,
heavy
exactly.
bleeding and
And
pains and
pain, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, you are. So you are very, very lucky.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. So I have like a couple go-to tips for pain. I also have nowadays it's you know, they're not painful. They're quite regular, but there was a time where I had a lot of pain. And so I want to talk a little bit about your course actually. Can you tell me what you guys uncovered, like you said you completed the first month now.
sure. So it was all about like the first course was just connecting with our womb space.
Yeah.
So it was all about meditation and trying to speak to your womb. It's like a daily practice now, waking up and just putting my hands on my womb and asking how she is.
Nice.
Just feeling her space, you know, if she's heavy or light or bloated or something, just, just being connected to that space. And with my first meditation, I was actually really emotional because I was like, whoa, I felt so disconnected to that space. And this part of me bleeds every month, and has its own cycle, 4 cycles, and 4 seasons, and all these things, but I don't really know much about it, and it made me really upset. And I felt like my womb obviously loves me, but was like, you kind of neglected me for a long while, and our teacher asked me, when was the last time you listened to your womb, and all these things, and it just like blew me away, like, oh my gosh, I haven't given any love to this space, and everything. And so that was my first class, and it was beautiful. Waking up every morning, just connecting to that space. And then it was all about self-love. So looking at yourself in the mirror, just being naked, looking at your yoni with a mirror, and just giving love. Because we see the porn industry and all this stuff, it's all kind of meshed together, and we compare ourselves to what they look like and everything, and it's so hard for as women when we're like, men don't like this, so I don't like it, kind of thing. So it's finding self-love again, like loving that part of you, embracing all that you have, everything, how she looks like, everything. And then we did some like yoni steam. We did a yoni steam. So that's when you have a bowl of herbs that help cleanse your womb, help cleanse and it's like antibacterial properties as well, healing properties, all that stuff. Just giving love and self-care to your womb space. So it's all about self-care. Then we were asked to connect with our cycles more. So there's the wise woman, which is when you're bleeding. When you're bleeding, you're the wise woman, also known as the sage. So crone, that's or crone. Yeah. And that's when your intuition's really high and you're creative, but you're more reserved, more,
you need
staying at home or going inwards. And then there's the maiden, the maiden. So that's after you're bleeding, and that's when there's so many different
phases.
Things. Yeah, but to me, it's like you really need to connect with your body because it's different for every woman, So there's the crone, the maiden, the mother, which is when you're ovulating, and then what's the last one? The wild woman, which is when you're premenstrual. And so what was really, really nice for me was writing these down, and because you can find them all online, like how you should be feeling, but what's important is how you're actually feeling. So maybe you don't look at all that and just list down your cycle, list down those 4 seasons, and then really connect with your body and learn about yourself and learn about how you're feeling. If you're feeling more intuitive, if you're feeling really closed off, all that stuff, just list it down. And the first month it might be really like up and down, you might not connect with it more, but the more you do it, it's actually so fun, and you get to connect with your body, and you get to choose projects at certain times.
Exactly.
So and I find that so amazing, like oh, I'm getting ready to bleed, I'm gonna do this, and then like, now I'm so excited when I bleed. I welcome it. Before I would dread it, and now I'm like, no, this is my time to go inwards. This is my time to be creative. I can say no if I want to, like, and really, just really connect with your body and allow your body to do what it needs to, because that's what we're here to do. And it's just amazing, like knowing that you're connecting with nature and the cycles of the moon, and it just becomes really fun. The more you learn about it, and the more you learn about yourself. And the more like what your limits are, or when you need to rest and all that stuff, and not to push your body. And yeah, it's just made my life so much easier and more exciting because I have things to look forward to and I can plan my schedule around my cycle, you know. Yeah, I think it
So,
should be
yeah,
fun.
wow, that was really a lot there. There's so many things to unpack from that share. Thank you. The first thing is that just to place things into context is that um, obviously our society is patriarchal, right? So everything like businesses and the economy and our schedules, it's all like boom, 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 boom. And so women, especially working women, entrepreneurs, or who are women who are professionals, they literally have to box their bodies into those male boxes, right? so
Yeah.
um so what I usually do is, like you said, the first thing is to first of all start plotting and getting familiar with your own cycle and acknowledging that we are going to feel different in different, at different phases, and relearning to connect to the body and to start listening and having those conversations. Like you said, you have a daily conversation with the womb, and acknowledging that this is a process that takes time.
Yeah.
It's not like, you have one Reiki session and boom, it's all like it's fixed. It's actually never, it's never like that. So there's just so many layers of, like you mentioned, shame and trauma. And I also want to say that even if, maybe you and I were lucky enough that we didn't experience those things, we still carry that imprint of intergenerational trauma from our grandmothers, our mothers, our grandmothers, our ancestors, who have suffered so much in that space, whether it's, on, like illegal abortions, whether it's rape, whether it's incest, or like all that stuff. Even if we didn't like personally experience it, it's still carried over. So that there's a lot of like release work that you mentioned. um, so that's why I love my tips usually are, so yeah, getting to know, getting familiar with your cycle so you can start planning accordingly, right? So I realize that for women who are, in corporate, maybe it's harder to schedule downtime on your first day of bleeding, or maybe it's harder to yeah, to work around that. But I really, because I've worked in an office for a long time, so I know that over time you can start once you have that awareness and that perspective, you can start arranging your life accordingly. And like you said, saying no to some like knowing your boundaries, knowing your body, knowing your boundaries. And then of course I'm going to say practicing some sort of energy healing modality is helpful, right? Because as you can do Reiki on your womb space. And then I love yin yoga, definitely, if I'm having some sort of discomfort, which is normal. That's another thing I want to say. So doing like a what do you call it, reclined Supta Baddha Konasana with the hands in the like a yoni mudra. And then yeah, and then I know you have such a clean diet, but definitely, if for people who are not plant-based, focusing more on plant-based during premenstrual time and all that. There's really literally so many things that can be done. But yeah, I love how you talked about how your shadow work actually led to that space, which is really interesting. Um, yeah, so how do you guys work with? How do you link the shadow work with the yoni with the womb space? Like, how does that work for you?
Well, the yoni work was I think it started from shame. So I started feeling all this shame about how I looked and about, I guess, just
Yeah.
about maybe how I was growing up as a child. You know, all these things that I didn't like about myself, I started to face and, connect with that and why I was that way and understand myself a little more.
Yeah.
And then I found so much like anger towards men in my life that I had relationships with, or not even that, just
Yeah.
friends. And I just started feeling a lot of anger towards the men that I experienced in my life. And because I think it made me feel super shameful, or just, I don't know, like,
How they saw you, or what, were you able to unpack the anger?
yeah, I think it was more of like how I would position myself for men.
Okay, okay, okay.
Was that I was angry about. I was like, I just let men walk all over me.
The
All this
boundaries.
stuff.
Back to
Yeah,
boundaries.
I didn't have any boundaries. I always thought men were always right. Listen to the men, all that stuff, and
Oh no, really?
yeah, as a kid, yeah,
I
all
can't
that
imagine you're like that.
thing is daddy issues.
I
Seriously.
can't imagine you're like that.
Yeah, it was bad. And then all that came up because I didn't, that was a long time
Yeah,
ago,
yeah.
but it came
It
up
was
and I was
there,
like,
yeah.
my goodness, I was this way. And then I got angry
Yeah.
towards all the guys,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I painted my yoni as a form of release, as a form of like turning that and transmuting it into something
Beautiful.
creative and healing, and kind of like a forgive myself piece. Um, just understanding that happened for a reason, and divine timing. I'm here healing, doing all this work now, but it was really difficult to face. And when I painted my yoni, it was also a lot of shame and
Do you have the
comparison.
painting there? Can you show us the painting?
Let's get it real quick.
I don't even know if everyone knows what a yoni is. Okay.
The yoni is a vagina.
Yes. Let's see it.
So,
Wow, yeah, it's gorgeous.
thank you, because I was working with the rose, so I was taking
Is it a watercolor? No,
no, rose. Oh, this is acrylic.
acrylic.
But
You're
I
very
was
talented.
working.
Like that shading is beautiful. Wow.
Thank you. So yeah, I was working with the rose, taking rose essence daily, connecting with the plant to help me heal with that space as well. And
Oh yeah, because you're my rose supplier. Oh my God. And it does look like an unfolding rose.
rose. Yeah, so it was also like in gratitude of the rose, like thank you for bringing me here to this space and connecting, because the rose also represents the underworld. So I was really connecting with my
Really?
shadows and femininity, and the thorns and all of that stuff. Like it was just, yeah, it just brought me to that space. And then when all that came out, I was like, whoa, I think I just unlocked something, and there's a lot more that I need to figure out and learn more about myself.
Yeah.
And that's when I dove into the womb work, because the yoni part was just the beginning, the entrance.
The surface, yeah.
To the,
It's a doorway.
to the,
Yeah.
yes. So yeah.
So did you post that video by Teal Swan about the period? Because she talks about a practice. So I watched that video, and like I want to think I'm pretty open-minded, but some of the stuff that she was talking about, I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like she suggests that you paint with your period blood, right? So I was like, oh, and I remember I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like that's so crazy. The more I think about it, I'm like, I want to try that. I really want to try that. That's really yeah, like why not? Like that's a form of honoring ourselves. Like why not? She says like this is so precious. And it's really interesting because I'm also working with the men's group, and how I don't know if you saw, I have a video out like 11, I don't know, 10 tips for managing excess sex energy for guys, right? And so there's so many parallels, because the pain that women feel, and then that discomfort that the men also feel in the sacral, which is the same area, right? It's just blocked energy. It's just stuck, old, stagnant energy that we don't know how to release.
Yeah.
It's different, right? Because the women have the monthly cycle, and then the guys have a daily cycle. So of course it expresses itself differently. But when I look back at the tips that so it's just like a catchy title. So the tips are like getting to know yourself more, doing like, shadow work, doing meditation, doing movement, doing breath work, which are all applicable to women as well when we're doing the womb work.
Mhm.
So so yeah, before I forget, I also wanted to share, I shared with you briefly the story that happened to me. So when I started my work with Reiki, which is 5 years ago, it feels like centuries, I was very disconnected to my body as well. And so it's been a journey. It's been a journey of like a lot of deep practice, especially over the past year or so, I would say. And something magical happened to me last time I had my period. And I don't know, it seems less magical now you told me about your first period. But anyway, so
This is
last
magical.
month, I was sleeping. I sleep really well most of the time. I would say 90%. I sleep like a baby, very restful. And then all of a sudden, my I woke up because of pain in my sacral, and I was like, I wasn't expecting my period, but I could feel just so accurately like the contraction of my uterus, and I was like, oh my God, this is so painful. And then I saw myself, I was half asleep, right? I was half awake, and I saw myself starting to um, get angry at my womb and be like, why are you waking me up? Why are you so painful? Like like, why are you doing this? And what happened, which has never happened before, is my womb answered back, and I could just imagine it, not with words obviously, but I just felt so much sadness coming from there. So I could imagine like a sad emoji, that my womb is like, but I'm just doing my job. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm sorry, I'm waking you up and I'm inconveniencing you, but I really have to do this so we can evacuate the lining and just make,
Mhm.
space for the next one. And then I felt so guilty, like, okay, it's okay. So I'm having this conversation, like I'm half asleep, half awake, and I'm about to get angry at myself, at my womb. And then I felt so much. I just felt a wave of compassion, and like this my heart opened to my womb, and it was like, you know this is like totally okay. Like I didn't mean to hate on you like that. So I got up and I went to the bathroom, and I started bleeding, like it was clockwork.
Wow.
Literally, I was sleeping, my womb woke me up, like, hey. I went to the bathroom, and then it was just like, wow, this is crazy. How does that's the first time it happened to me. And so I felt
Wow.
so grateful
Mhm.
that I was able to develop that connection to my body, which I never, like 5 6
Yeah.
years ago, if someone taught me that I would be having a conversation with my uterus, like I would just think it's stupid, like, right, right.
Yeah.
But so that's something you do every morning now, right? So you send gratitude and check in.
Yeah, just check in. Just
Yeah,
check in with how my womb is feeling.
yeah,
It's also our creative center and all that. So if I'm feeling, creative, like just listening,
yeah,
um, and also like what she needs, maybe like, if
yeah.
she's feeling like she needs a little bit of fruits today. I don't know. It's crazy. It's listening to my body, but I enjoy like feeling that space in my womb. And now all the time I'm always just touching my womb, like, I love you. You're doing it, you're doing what you need to do. I'm not saying that I never have pains when I'm on my period. I always know when it's coming because I have little contractions
Yeah,
and
the
stuff.
contractions, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's not something I hate. I
Yeah,
understand what she's doing, and I
yeah,
know that it's time for that. So it's really embracing that. And I think when you embrace it a little bit
yeah,
more, that's really, and give it compassion. That's
exactly.
really when
Yeah,
I don't know, you're connected, and You
It's
just have
it's
to
really
understand the
it's
process.
really a matter of perspective, because when you
Yeah.
think about it, so yeah, that space is a receptacle of so much shame and hatred and judgment, right? But at the same time, that's where like life is born. Like
Yeah.
where we were all it kind of blows my mind when I think about it. And I remember when I was giving birth, it's the
Hmm.
same thing. Your uterus contract. It's like its job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like we're not going to ask it not to do that. Then it wouldn't be doing its job correctly. Then there would be a
Exactly.
dysfunction and abnormality, right? But when I was having contractions, when I was going into labor, I wasn't like, what are you doing? Like this is,
Yeah.
like you're messing up my day or something. No, I was like, oh my God, oh my God. So having that same perspective, like, okay, it's that time of the month and we're just gonna do our thing together and we're gonna
Mhm.
support each other in the
Yes.
process. And like you said, like, do you want to eat fruits? Do you want to do
Yeah.
you want to eat like I
I
think
would
that's
always, I would dread, like, because I have one more week till my period starts. And usually I dread this time because that's when I'm super bloated.
yeah.
I break out, like I just get a pimple or something, and I eat all the time and I'm craving sugar and all this stuff. And since connecting with that, with my moon cycle, and just trusting that my body's just doing what it needs to do, I've just been embracing it.
Yeah.
And before I wouldn't wear certain clothes
Yeah.
because my belly gets huge and bloated before my period. And now I'm like, I'm so proud of it. I'm like, look, I look like I'm pregnant. I'm about to bleed. Like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's a change of
Yeah.
perspective. And
Totally.
also what Teal Swan, that video with
Yeah.
Teal Swan talking about what you can do with your
Yeah.
blood. This, I was like so amazed. It's like that's so
I
true. You know, back in the day, when women bled, they were put in red tents. So it's called the red tent, where women would stay and bleed together
Yeah.
and allow the blood to go straight into the earth, free bleed. And they did this because their intuition was super heightened then, and they were very creative, and people would go there to, ask questions and listen to their wisdom and all that. And when I learned about that and knowing like, wow, my blood should be going to the earth, not being flushed in the toilet. So now I'm like always collecting my blood. I
Really?
love it. Yeah, and then I did my first free bleeding. I thought I would never do that. I saw it in a post maybe 5 months ago that someone I follow was free bleeding running, and I was like, that's amazing. And I remember showing my mom and my friends, and they're like, that's disgusting. I was like, but it makes so much sense. Like back then, you're bleeding from this point because it's your connection to the earth,
Wow.
and that's just what I like. Animals
That's
bleed
wild.
into the earth, and so that's when I was like, okay, that's why moon cups are created. Use it. And I always have a ritual with my blood. I dilute it. I put my manifestation letter, or I just go to walk in the garden and I pour my blood. I did my first free bleeding. It was so much fun. I just wore a black dress and I just went outside and I just like, Vine, Separate, I'm free bleeding. And they're like, ew, don't go near me. I'm like, this is nature, guys. My mom literally thinks I'm going crazy. But I love it. Like, I feel so empowered. I feel so connected. I feel like, I don't know. It just makes me feel like different. Like, also maybe because I'm going against what I was taught,
Yeah.
and also just comparing that, like
Exactly.
having had and throwing that in the trash. I haven't bought or used a pad in like a year because I use reusable pads, which are the best things ever. And now they have those menstrual panties, which are amazing.
So yeah,
Oh,
can you give me all those resources? Like where
yes,
you
sure,
get them
sure.
all online.
Yeah, all online. And
So you don't use the moon cups.
I have a moon cup also,
Okay.
but I like to just bleed on my pad, and then I dilute that with water if it's like a good bleed. So you can also look at your period, because your
Yeah.
period tells you a lot about your health also and what you
Right.
went
That's
through
what I
past month. Yeah, so if there's a lot of clumps and stuff like that, um, it's also your diet. So I suggest
Adjust.
taking magnesium citrate for women that are going through menstrual cramps and pains and dysmenorrhea.
So
And
all throughout the cycle? I mean, every day? The
yeah,
magnesium?
well, I don't take it every day. I maybe take it 3 times a week. But it really helps with PMS. A lot of us are actually we don't take enough magnesium.
Yeah,
So
cacao has
yeah,
magnesium, though.
yeah,
Yeah,
it helps me so much.
yeah.
But yeah, magnesium citrate is what is needed for that balance and balance on your hormones and all that really helps. So that's a good tip.
Yeah, yeah,
For
yeah.
everyone.
I wonder if
Yeah.
I'm having like 20, because I usually have 20 to 30 grams cacao per day. I wonder if that's enough in terms of magnesium content. I guess I could look that up probably.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not sure.
Interesting to find out. Wow. So yeah, wow, free bleeding. Well, the thing is, you do have a beautiful backyard. I have to
Yeah, I
say,
know.
like, if I
It's
start free bleeding here, Pablo's gonna be like, "The fuck are you doing, girl?"
get out.
So maybe I'll pass on that one for now. Yeah, yeah. But I
But when you're
definitely
next time,
next time
come
I
here
visit,
and keep free bleeding Soul
next time we
Sierra.
have fun ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
Oh,
it's been fun exploring all these
yeah,
things. Like I'm very open to
yeah,
anything. Of course, when something doesn't work with me, then it doesn't. But so far, it's been a really fun process, and I feel
yeah,
really empowered and connected to my feminine
yeah,
cycle and my moon cycle. And yeah, I think hiding the shame of our period is the first thing you have to do, or your yoni and everything. Like, get rid of that shame. Hiding your pads, all that stuff. Like, we need to talk about it more. So I'm so
yeah.
happy that we're having this, that you
Yeah.
asked us to talk about this, because that's the first step. Talk about your period.
Yeah.
Share it. Like, share your
Yeah.
cycles.
I want to say
Um,
something also about my yoni actually, because you I didn't think we would talk about this, but since you brought it up, I have to say that it actually took a partner, like men in my life, to make me appreciate my own yoni, because I was like, no, no,
yeah,
so not even, and I mean, women's circles and all that, that's also fairly recent for me. Like, again, in the past 4 years. So prior to that, right, I'm 46. So like 40 years or no. So yeah, like a large part of my life, it was just like denying that part of myself. And
yeah,
so men also have an important role to play. I want to
yeah,
say, so,
true. Yeah,
yeah, and they should be part of this conversation. And I'm looking at in Facebook, and I'm glad to see there's some guys here too. Hi, Chubby. Yeah, because honor your partners, your sisters, your wives, your daughters. Like, celebrate them into their, have those conversations with your kids that I didn't have. And that's so beautiful. So those are good tips. Yeah, if you have the space, then free bleed.
yeah, you
Take
have
the
to say.
magnesium, do the art. Oh, and have you seen this Goop Lab episode? I think it's 3. It's all about the yoni. Oh my God, you have to see it.
Okay, I'll
I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's like, yeah, you need to see that. Yeah, yeah. Everyone needs to
excited.
see that. I'll post it. I'll post it up. Yeah. I think I
Yes.
posted it before, and everyone's like, Wendy's being weird again. Like, yeah. I don't
Okay.
know.
You post it, I'll share it. We'll all be weird.
Yeah, by the way, happy National Orgasm Day. Was belated happy National Orgasm Day. Oh my God.
And happy full moon. Well, tomorrow.
Yes, full moon in Aquarius. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful, beautiful. So, yeah, one last thing is, it's really interesting how, so there's so many ways we can work with our cycles, right? Like what you said, and schedule, even in terms of if you're doing meetings or work
Yeah.
it online, you want to do it right near your ovulation more, and
Yeah.
so starting to do that. So those are all, it's so fun to work with. It's like working with the moon cycles. And at first I was like, oh, people are going to think this is so woo, but actually it's just about reconnecting with natural cycles, with
Yeah.
nature. And so we're disconnected from our bodies, we're disconnected from the planet. And so we're kind of like, we're just rebuilding those bridges, getting rid of the stuff that's not helping, like you said. So, oh, thank you.
You. No.
So, yeah, Kim, do you want to talk a little bit about, do you have any upcoming programs people can join? Or you have a new Facebook group, right? The Nurture to Nature.
Yeah, it's
Want
for
to talk about
women, nurture your nature. So it's just a sacred circle. We do, we're trying to do 2 women circles every month.
that? Nice. So when is the
Um,
next one?
the next one is for the group that joined last month. It's going to be a reflection, and that's going to be on the 19th, on the new moon, on the next new moon. And then we'll be having another circle on I think the full moon. I will post all that up.
Cool.
But yeah, those are our next events. Just been focusing on women. You know, before with Reiki and everything, I felt like I needed to help everyone. You know, help the animals, help men
Yeah.
and women, and now just being able to connect with myself and like
Yeah.
I know women, and
Yeah.
I feel like I've been called to do some of this work of holding space for them, and
Yeah.
so I'm excited for this new venture.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's important that you listen to that calling. That's especially because it can change. Like 6 months from now, you might go back to, working more with animals. You might be holding men's circles like me now. Who knows, in a year or so or whatever. Yeah, so I just also wanted to mention that I'm hosting my first men's circle on the 15th because I think it's important that we also, support our men in their inner work. It's so important that they're not, left behind. And I know a lot of them do feel left behind, and maybe, like, how are we supposed to behave now when women are so empowered? Like, what does that leave us? Where does that leave us and stuff like that? So I have a men's group that I just started 2 weeks ago, and then so that's where I am right now. But I also feel like, yeah, I have enough energy to do both at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great that you're doing both, Wendy. So good.
Thank you.
I
So,
love your amazing.
thank you. Do you have any last words of advice for women who are struggling and with their periods, and a message for them of encouragement?
Yeah, so we're told that heavy bleeding is normal, missing your periods is normal, all that stuff. But actually, through my teachings and listening to doctors, it actually isn't normal. So if you do have heavy bleeding and it's something you can't, it feels really off, or you're missing your periods too much, I really suggest speaking to a professional about that, because we're also taught that so many things are normal.
Yeah.
Like heavy pain is normal, all these things, but it's actually not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's better to talk to someone about it and then find the root cause. Maybe there's something, just a deficiency or something like that. But it's better to know, and then you can really go back to the work and the healing process and all that stuff, and connecting with
That's
your
a
room.
really excellent point that you're making. I think that a lot of us, not only women, but also men, that people just get used to a base point of pain and discomfort, and then they cover it up with, painkillers, right? Like painful periods, they'll just cover it up with a painkiller. When there's so many things they can actually do, right? Whether it's breath work or meditation or energy or even sound healing. And of course, having checking with your doctor, make sure your blood is okay, you're not having any deficiencies, and then doing all the other stuff in conjunction with that. So that's a really, really good point. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Yay. So next week, Kim, I hope you can also join next week. I'm going to be talking to Donna Esteban from Manila, and she's also, I haven't had the chance to meet her yet in person, but I took her class. She has a class called Undoing Yoga every Friday, which you might want to check out because it's all about undoing. So, you know, we're caught up in that always busy mode. And so I really enjoyed her class. It's very yin, very restorative, perfect actually to really listen to your body because we need that quiet space to connect to our body parts. There's
When
also,
is it?
it's every Friday. Yeah, I'll try to remember to share all these different things that I wanted to share. And there's also one last thing that I wanted to say is that you can really, anyone can practice talking to any part of their body. And this is something I learned long time ago with Thich Nhat Hanh. I think he's the one, Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen mindfulness teacher. There's a practice, or it's in Qigong, that there's a practice where you smile at your organs. So you're in meditation, and then you're like internally smiling at your spleen, at your liver, you know, and so it's such a sweet practice, you know, like when you think about it. So, and you can take it a step further, and then talk to, yeah, your gut, and be like, hey, I've been hating on you, like. Are we friends now? Can we be friends now? Like from now on, you know? So yeah, that's a really great practice that's accessible to anyone. And it might sound weird at first, but yeah, it's important to explore, right? I love this curiosity we have. We have that in common, just like wanting to try different things and see what works, right?
Yeah. You have to try everything,
Yeah.
or else you're not gonna know if it works with you.
Yeah. And it might be something really small that, wow, it'll change your relationship to your monthly cycle. So okay, well, it was so lovely to connect with you tonight.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
having
so much.
me.
And yeah, I'll post some of the stuff about Donna, and then I'd love to have your resources for the moon cups and the recyclable,
Period pens.
yeah, the
Yeah.
patch and all that. Yeah, please give a big hug to Bam Bam for me. Just like,
I will.
yeah, I want to cuddle him.
He heard you. He
So
heard you.
cute. Oh. So sweet. The Reiki dog. Okay. All right, Kim. Love you.
We love you. Have a good week ahead and happy full moon tomorrow.
Yes, full moon tomorrow. I'll probably check in on the Gasho Circle tomorrow morning.
Nice. I'll see you there.
Bye.